James Lewis had never thought much about small towns. After years of building his reputation as a skilled carpenter in the city, he and his wife Priya had decided they wanted quieter lives. More space, slower mornings, neighbors who waved at you because they knew your name, not because they wanted something. When they found the little fixer-upper on the edge of Willow Creek, it felt perfect. Old, weathered wood. A creaky porch that begged for laughter and rocking chairs. It would be their first real home, the place they would build their future. James was black, Priya was Indian American. In the city, it hadn't mattered much, but Willow Creek was different. It wasn't that people were outright cruel. No, not really. It was the way conversations would fumble to a halt when James walked into a room. The long, assessing glances, the polite, tight smiles at the farmer's market, the whispers when he and Priya applied to volunteer at the community center. At first, James tried to ignore it. Give it time, he told himself. People need time. But some nights, as he sanded floors alone in the moonlight, the doubt crept in. Maybe they had made a mistake. Maybe some places weren't ready for them yet. One Saturday, as James was fixing the fence out front, an old pickup truck pulled up. A man about James's age, tall, broad-shouldered, wearing a worn baseball cap, hopped out. "Hey," the man said gruffly, "fence is looking good." James nodded cautiously. "Thanks. Just moved in a few weeks ago. Still fixing things up." The man stuck out his hand. "Caleb Miller. I live up the road." James wiped his hands on his jeans and shook it. Firm, solid. James Lewis. They stood in awkward silence for a moment. Then Caleb glanced at the half-fixed fence. "You got anyone helping you with that?" James shook his head. "Just me." Caleb shrugged. "I got some free time. Mind if I pitch in?" James blinked, caught off guard. "No. Sure. That'd be great." And just like that, they spent the next few hours hammering, lifting, joking about splinters and stubborn nails. When they were done, sweat-soaked and grinning, Caleb clapped James on the back. "Good work," he said simply. James felt something he hadn't in a while. Hope. Over the next few weeks, Caleb kept showing up. Sometimes with his toolbox. Sometimes just with a cold beer and a story about life in Willow Creek. They talked about fishing, about the sorry state of the town's high school football team, about favorite barbecue joints 2 towns over. At first, James stayed guarded. He had learned the hard way that friendliness didn't always mean friendship. But Caleb never slipped, never stumbled over awkward jokes or careful silences. He treated James like a man, not a stranger, not an outsider, just a neighbor. One evening, as the summer sun set the sky on fire, Priya invited Caleb and his wife Lacey over for dinner. They laughed over homemade curries and peach cobbler, swapped embarrassing high school stories, teased each other about bad taste in music. For the first time since moving to Willow Creek, James felt normal. Belonging wasn't loud. It was quiet, soft, steady. The way Lacey asked Priya for her recipe like they were old friends, the way Caleb leaned back in his chair and said, "Next weekend, we're taking y'all fishing. No excuses." Maybe, James thought, change didn't always have to come in grand speeches or angry protests. Maybe sometimes it started in backyards, over fences, and shared meals. Maybe it started with trust. But not everyone in Willow Creek was ready. One afternoon, James walked into the local hardware store and overheard 2 older men talking. "You hear about that colored boy moved into the Johnson place?" one said, spitting into a cup. "Yeah," the other grunted. "Hope he knows his place. This town don't need no trouble." James stood frozen, every instinct screaming at him to walk away, to swallow the anger like he always had. But before he could move, a voice behind him spoke up. "You boys got a problem?" It was Caleb. He stepped up beside James, arms crossed, face set in stone. The men shuffled, muttering, suddenly finding the floor very interesting. "James, here's a better man than either of you," Caleb said coldly. "You got a problem with that? You got a problem with me." The tension crackled, but no one said another word. James looked at Caleb, stunned. Caleb just shrugged, like it was the most obvious thing in the world. "You're my neighbor," he said. "That's all that matters." It wasn't perfect after that. Some looks still lingered longer than they should. Some doors stayed half shut. But the important ones, the ones that mattered, stayed open. James and Priya built their home. They planted a garden. They hosted potlucks and birthday parties and backyard movie nights where kids from every background sprawled across the grass under the stars. Over time, faces that had once been wary softened. A handshake here, a wave there, a loaf of banana bread left on the porch. Just because, little by little, the colors of Willow Creek started to blend. And James realized that belonging wasn't about being invited in, it was about staying, standing steady until people learned to see not your skin, but your heart. If this story touched you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Let's keep telling stories that open hearts and build bridges. Thank you for being part of this journey.